Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm the inspirational Andy Murray from WhatCulture. And remember, real G's move in silence like lasagna.
And this is the news.
So, turns out there was a big bloody wrestling show last night, wasn't there? WrestleMania 35 was all kinds of things. It was cathartic, it was rewarding, it was fun. It was entirely too long, but I think the main thing coming out of that story is that the fans got the 3 big results they really wanted. Started with Seth Rollins bludgeoning Brock Lesnar in something like 2.5 minutes of bell time in the opener to become Universal Champion. Fan-pleasing moment number 1. Number 2, and the most emotional of them all, I think, Kofi Kingston defeating Daniel Bryan to become WWE Champion, celebrating in the ring with his boys, with his kids. Really great cathartic stuff.
Not ashamed to say I may have had a little bit of a cry.
Oh, you're a big softie. And in the main event, of course, perhaps not the match we wanted quality-wise, but definitely the moment we wanted, Becky Lynch defeating Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey to become Raw and SmackDown Women's Champion. Now, that was one hell of a night, wasn't it, Adam Wilborn?
Yeah, I completely agree. It was far too long. We were talking about it before we came on here. The argument being made that perhaps WrestleMania could be a 2-day event because if you finished it with Kofi and then with Becky, you'd have 2 fantastic days.
But people were exhausted after Kofi. So exhausted.
Thanks to Triple H for having the second longest match of the night and ridiculous bloody entrances yet again. But
what a boy.
For a first WrestleMania for me, I loved almost all of it.
Yes.
It was an obvious
My first WrestleMania too.
High point for me.
Bucket list.
Involving the women's tag team titles. It was
iconic.
I can't do that. I can't do anything. I'm shouting myself voice.
There's not enough room. We've got no voices. And shout outs to all the lovely people we spoke to, fans of the channel and so forth last night, especially Mr. Brian Gates, who I had a lovely chat with on the train home.
Anyway, let's move on to another news story that's coming out of WrestleMania, with a lot of people talking, as you mentioned there, about the main event of the evening between Ronda, Charlotte and Becky, and that finish, which is causing a lot of consternation. A lot of people have obviously shared images or videos from Ronda Rousey being rolled up, her shoulders not being down, it sort of being a bit of a iffy finish.
Strange one.
But it's being reported by some sites that the ending was botched completely or completely changed. Some places, including Pro Wrestling Sheet and Fightful.
Pro Wrestling Torture.
Pro Wrestling Torture.
We're very tired.
Yes, I've reported that it was originally going to be a submission finish with Becky tapping Charlotte, but that was changed, although that has been rebuffed by Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer. He said, no, that wasn't the case. This is always planned. This finish was there to try and keep Ronda looking strong. Who knows? Maybe even the way they sort of iffily finished that match, considering we got the result we wanted, they could follow up tonight on Monday Night Raw, maybe a rematch. But it kept Ronda looking strong. It wasn't the greatest finish, but I think, personally for me, it was about the match result, not the match conclusion.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we have the old cliche, Mania is about moments. It's absolutely true. These stories and matches and so forth are not calibrated to be 5-star bangers, although Kofi versus Bryan, you could certainly argue, was one of those. They want to deliver the moment. They want to deliver the shot of Becky Lynch holding both titles on the ramp celebrating. Now, the finish was a bit abrupt. It went over quite weirdly in the arena, but you know, it strikes me as a very Vince McMahon thing to do. Let's do the silly sports entertainment finish where no one really knows if she got her elbow off in an official capacity or not. It does sound, unfortunately, like the stories about that being a botch were kind of a little bit far-fetched, but that's probably a good thing. We don't want the company's top performers botching the finish of the first ever all-woman pay-per-view. So, and like you say, it does keep things open for a future program or match with Ronda Rousey, but there's a pretty big spanner in that particular work, because according to Shagger Dave, of course, of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, that was a really good segue, by the way, Ronda Rousey suffered, and I quote, a severely broken hand at some point during the main event. Now, that might explain there were a couple of slips in her work, particularly when she was trying to lift people up for her weird spinning TKO thing. There was one moment where I think it was she had Becky on her shoulder and she just couldn't get up. She had to like use her good hand to pull up on the ropes. That might have been a sign of the injury with the other hand. This is something else, because a severely broken hand, Lord knows how long she'd be out for. but if WWE were planning on following up on her versus Becky, that may now be off the table, particularly. I mean, she could technically wrestle with a cast. We've seen countless heels do that in the past. But tonight, like one night after, maybe a step too far, but who knows, perhaps for the next pay-per-view.
They were working pretty bloody snug last night when I saw them striking.
They always do, don't they, man? They
really
beat the hell out of each other.
They put everything into that main event, and look, looking at the bigger picture here, if whether or not they want to do something tonight on Monday Night Raw, if rumours are to be believed that Ronda is going to be going away to have a family, this is a great storyline to write her out with, no?
100%, yeah, absolutely.
And speaking of stepping away from the sport, Batista has officially announced his retirement after his match, the
Big Dave legend.
no holds barred match with Triple H at WrestleMania last night, the second longest match on the card. And who wouldn't want to retire from wrestling after they've had their nose ring ripped out by their supposed boss? But yes, Batista tweeted following that match at WrestleMania 35, the following, he said, "At WWE Universe, thank you for letting me thank you for letting me with you. I love this business, and whether you booed me or cheered me or jeered me, I'm grateful. I officially retired from sports entertainment and I'm grateful for every second of my journey."
Good for Dave.
A fantastic servant to wrestling and a decent way to sign off.
Yeah, good for Dave. Like, you know, the match last night certainly had his problems, but Dave Batista, to me, has always come off as a very nice, genuine person. He's very good on Twitter, he's very funny on Twitter, he's obviously close personal friends with Adam Cleary following the final score release. But no, like, this is nice. Like, it's nice that they gave him this last match, because it's clearly something that he's been pining for several years. It's nice that they give me what he wants, or whatever. I've totally messed that up, but I'm really tired. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, I think. Look, he didn't want his last match to be what it was. This, I mean, it was long and it was very.
That was Triple H's fault. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
He always does this at Mania.
But it was a good conclusion to a fantastic WWE career, and he can go off and do more fantastic movies like Final Score.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the other big story coming out of WrestleMania, something that we experienced firsthand, and you, if you were there, probably experienced yourself, unless you drove to the arena. So there was a big snafu with public transport last night. So because the show overran to such an extent, there were literally thousands upon thousands of people left stranded at the MetLife Stadium trying to get back to New York or various other places. So me and Michael Sidgwick, we left a little bit early. As soon as the final bell rang, we raced out of the arena and we found ourselves in a queue of, again, thousands of people waiting for the train from Meadowlands. It took forever. We were stood in that queue for about half an hour, 45 minutes. We then got on a train. We were probably on that train for about an hour. We then got to Secaucus Junction. We had to change over, and it was about another hour and a half there to get home. The plus side is we got to meet some really cool people in that time, and you had some nice conversations. But man, this was an absolute nightmare. Basically, the last train left while there were thousands of people still hanging around, and people were just stuck. This has caused all kinds of uproar all over the internet. And Mr. Wellborn, you and the rest of the WhatCulture crew had a very different experience, but an equally terrible one, so please share.
Yeah, once again, lovely to meet all you guys last night, even though it was in difficult circumstances. Apologies if we sort of blanked you whilst running through the pouring rain and flooded car park. But yeah, and we...
Flooded car park?
Yeah, we stayed around for the conclusion, and we stayed around obviously to film bits and bobs, what went down, star ratings, ups and downs and that sort of thing. Anyway, we were trying to get an Uber to leave because of obvious reasons. We found out the trains were cancelled, and we just thought, well, maybe we'd be able to get away. And it was an absolute shambles. We had, not just us, but the majority of people there we could see were trying to get Ubers. They were waiting for 20 minutes. We had to hide in tunnels because it was pouring it down, hence my lovely attire of the smart shoes I was going to wear for our live show tonight.
Take one of those off and hold up the camera.
Combined with tracky bottoms and my Titus Worldwide t-shirt. But yeah, shout out to our boy Mandeep, our Uber driver, who absolutely saved us, because a lot of people have the experience of, Uber drivers agreeing to take a thing, driving up to the venue, seeing the absolute mess that was thousands upon tens of thousands of people trying to leave.
See you later.
Just going, nah. So yeah, it was really badly organised, and obviously the late finish of the pay-per-view didn't help anyone either.
Yeah, it just messed everything up. Really, the company and whoever they organised this stuff with really have to take the brunt of this. It's unacceptable to leave people stranded in the soaking rain. It just is. Now, there was information on the WWE website and the transport website stating that trains would run for up to 2 hours after the event concluded. That certainly wasn't the case. And we can't complain too much. We're here at WrestleMania, blah blah blah. I think in spite of what happened, we all actually kind of had fun. but a lot of people would have been absolutely miserable. It's really not good enough, and let's hope that if they do hold WrestleMania in a stadium like this, where it does take quite a bit of effort to get back to the city, the hub city, New York, that they sort this out.
Yeah, a lot of people were unhappy with this, and there's been problems. Hopefully this will be the catalyst for some change, some organisation, because everything else they organise around WrestleMania weekend usually goes to plan. So this is something they need to work on, but look, we're here in the end, and it's the Raw after WrestleMania tonight.
Best show of the year.
Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions. Don't forget you can tweet the matters at WhatCulture WWE. First question comes from Lisa, who says, do you think having Brock and Rollins first set the tone for the rest of the evening, and do you think this was the best Mania since WrestleMania 17?
I don't think it was the best Mania since WrestleMania 17. I thought it was a good Mania. But the problem with me trying to compare it to other Manias is that I experienced this one live. This was my first Mania. I think therefore it's kind of unfair for me to compare it to other ones until I've watched it on tape, because it's a completely different experience. And I had a blast sitting there with Michael, chatting to you guys and so forth, just enjoying the show, enjoying the banter. It was really good. The first question, yeah, Brock versus Seth was one hell of an opener. They wanted to get that show off with a huge crowd-pleasing moment. It either had to, really, if they wanted to do that, it had to be that at the Kofi match. The Kofi match would have been interesting because the crowd really died after the excitement of that one. So yeah, Brock Seth, perfect first choice. It was brisk, it was quick, it was a sharp shock, and it was awesome.
Really enjoyed Paul Heyman marching past Hulk Hogan on the ramp and shouting, wrong, wrong in the ring. Yeah, a really exciting opener, and that for me is the best WrestleMania I've ever been to. Next question comes from Sean Acklin, who says, my God, what a night. Let's look back real quick before the madness continues. What were the best and worst parts of WrestleMania for you?
Ooh, the best part was Kofi Kingston
question
the belt. The second best was a spoiler for the end finally, so I'm not going to mention that. A little bit of banter. Dave tripping over the rope, that was quality. I really enjoyed Triple H's ring entrance, what I saw of it at least. The Mad Max stuff was tremendous. Tony Nese pulling off some crazy stuff in the pre-show. Worst parts? The rest of the Batista Triple H match. And, you know, like, The Miz versus Shane McMahon, I loved that match, but it was absolutely terrible.
Yeah, it was a bit of a bad
I loved it, but don't get me wrong.
I like the finish to it as well. I really thought that worked really well.
I can't wait for Shane's promo on SmackDown. He's going to be such a bellend.
I can't wait for... I was going to say for another thing there, but that's your end finally. I don't want to step on any toes here. I completely agree with all that. That's my end finally. I'm going to mention Kofi, Seth, Becky winning, the big three. That's the big takeaways. I love that, and just so bloody long WWE.
Yeah.
I honestly think we could or probably should see a 2-day WrestleMania going forward.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
Final question comes from Arno Mateus, who says, did Vince McMahon just put over an indie wrestler? Does this mean he agrees that the indies are better?
Are they better? Are they better? I don't know, man. I think, I take it when he's talking about putting over an indie wrestler, he's referring to Seth Rollins.
No, he's talking about AJ Styles.
Oh, he's talking about AJ Styles?
Yeah, AJ Indie versus
okay,
WWE.
sorry, I'm very tired, man, I'm sorry. No, I don't think it is. I just think that AJ Styles winning was probably the right story there.
Love the finish to that match.
It was so good. It was really good stuff. Randy Orton is a heel who can generate heat like that. He is pretty much bulletproof at this stage. He can absorb these losses without any problems. Now, if you have him beat AJ, the natural conclusion to most storylines is the babyface goes over. If he beats AJ, they have to continue that probably. And you're not supposed to, I know they've done it loads of times, but you're not really supposed to continue storylines after WrestleMania. This is the season finale. I think it was more a case of it just being the right result.
Yeah, lovely work involving the arcade throughout that match. And I know we don't see automatic rematches, so let's just say we take Daniel Bryan out of the picture. How do you think for Kofi Kingston's first opponent being, despite the fact he lost last night, Randy Orton?
I'm here for Randy Orton. I'd be more here for AJ Styles.
Oh, that would be absolutely fantastic. Right, let's move on to today's and finally. And today it's more just sort of a celebration of banter at
the boys.
Piss boiling. Andy Murray, your highlight of WrestleMania.
My highlight of WrestleMania was one legend passing the torch to another legend on his way out of the business. I am, of course, talking about the bald icon, the man with the best waistcoat in the world, Baron Corbin. Big banner, the big breakfast, the greatest big man in this business. Well, second best big man in this business if you want to split hairs, defeating Kurt Angle. Great.
Look, it wound a lot of people up. I thought it makes sense. Look, Kurt is an old school guy. He's going to believe in putting someone over on his way out. You're going to see, no doubt, a frustrating, again, piss-boiling promo from Baron Corbin tonight. It was a good way for me to end Kurt Angle's last match, and after that moonsault, I never need to see him wrestle ever again because my heart stopped as he left off that top rope. And finally today, with a quick mention to the Doctor of Thugonomics.
That was great.
Here announcing Elias dead.
Another one. Big George.
Elias's career, I should say, dead and buried because he got absolutely murdered, bodied by the Doctor of Thugonomics.
Bodied by the banter, really.
Word life, indeed. But my favourite part of WrestleMania, aside from the obvious ones, has to be, and there's videos of this on Twitter, and the reason why my voice sounds like it does today, an iconic victory for the Iconics in the Fatal 4-Way Women's Tag Team Titles match.
God.
I will never forget turning to Adam Cleary as Beth Phoenix hit the top rope glam slam on Bayley and suddenly spotting Peyton Bloody Royce reaching up, tapping her, and I suddenly returned to Adam Cleary and to Adam Nicholas and said, the Iconics are legal. Unbelievable.
The first thing me and Michael Sidgwick did, because we were sitting a few rows in front of the group, was we turned around to see your little face, and it was magic.
Just like to mention everyone in our section 304 of the MetLife Stadium, who some of them got involved with myself and the rest of us chanting "You deserve it" to the Iconics, and the lovely women who were sat in front of us shouting "No, they don't." There you have it then. Let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories, and of course WrestleMania 35 in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Loads and loads more WrestleMania content coming your way in the next few minutes, hours, days, weeks. You get the idea. And don't forget to send your Twitter questions to us at WhatCultureWE. Watch there, you can follow both of us. You can follow him at
Andy H. Murray. The H stands for horrible.
You can follow me at Adam Wilborn and send me as many bloody iconic gifts as you want. As I said, you can follow us all at WhatCultureWE. My thanks to Andy Murray. We're going to put some more aloe vera on after getting sunburnt yesterday. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.